The night sky is calm, but the world beneath it hums with anticipation. In the silence above Earth's thin blue line, an invisible traveler drifts closer, unseen by human eyes yet already whispering across the instruments of deep space observatories. NASA's statement is brief, almost restrained, a simple confirmation that a new interstellar object has entered the outer reaches of our solar system. They call it 3I-ATLAS. To most, it's just a sequence of letters and numbers. But to astronomers, to dreamers, to everyone who still looks up at night and wonders what lies beyond, it is something far greater, a visitor from another star. At first, the announcement passes quietly, tucked between news stories about storms and politics. Yet within hours, it spreads across the internet like electricity. People replay the phrase over and over again, interstellar object approaching. It's not the first time humanity has heard those words, but something about this one feels different. Maybe it's the precision of NASA's tone. Maybe it's the calm confidence that comes with confirmation, not speculation. Or maybe it's the name, Atlas, a name that carries weight, as if the universe itself had shoulders wide enough to bear the story of every world it's ever touched. The telescopes that first glimpsed it describe an object the size of a small mountain, gliding through space at unimaginable speed. It's dark, silent, and cold, but its trajectory is clear. It's not bound to the sun like our planets or comets, it's merely passing through, a cosmic messenger tracing a path from one unknown system to another. No engines. No signal. Just motion, pure and ancient. And yet, the closer it comes, the more it feels alive. In labs and control rooms around the globe, teams of scientists gather before glowing monitors. They compare readings, check orbital models, and whisper theories that sound like the start of a legend. They know this is more than a discovery. It's a meeting, brief, fleeting, and impossibly rare. For the third time in human history, something that was born beyond our sun has come close enough for us to study. The first two, Oumuamua and Borisov, arrived and vanished before anyone could prepare. But this one, 3I-ATLAS, is different. We have time. Time to observe. Time to listen. Time to ask questions that could redefine what we think we know about life, matter, and the boundaries between worlds. Outside the laboratories, life continues as usual. Children go to school. Cities glow. Airplanes trace thin silver lines through the upper atmosphere. But somewhere above that calm rhythm, 3I-ATLAS races closer, ancient, untouched, carrying secrets older than the solar system itself. For the scientists watching, this is history unfolding. For the rest of humanity, it's a story that feels like myth come to life. There is no fear yet, only curiosity. But curiosity is powerful. It turns night into questions and silence into meaning. Every culture that has ever looked up at the stars has imagined visitors from beyond, but now, one is real, a wandering stone from another sun, crossing paths with ours for reasons no one fully understands. Humanity becomes the hero of its own cosmic story, standing on a fragile planet, watching a messenger drift out of the black. And as telescopes continue to track its slow, steady approach, one truth settles deep into the collective mind: this isn't just another rock tumbling through the void. This is a fragment of somewhere else, a reminder that the universe is larger, older, and far more connected than we ever dared to believe. Each night it draws closer, and each night, more people look up, sensing that something extraordinary is on its way. The visitor has come. And the story of its arrival has just begun. At first, 3I-ATLAS looks like just another interstellar traveler, a cold, tumbling relic passing harmlessly through the solar system. But then, something changes. As it spins in the darkness, telescopes begin to pick up faint flashes of reflected light, not random, but rhythmic. 3 points shimmer across its surface like a slow, deliberate blink. The data is checked, recalibrated, and checked again. The readings don't vanish. 3 distinct luminous regions keep appearing, aligned perfectly along its axis of rotation. To astronomers, it looks as though the object has eyes. Within hours, the discovery leaks. A research intern posts a blurred image on social media, showing the 3 faint glimmers. The post goes viral. Headlines erupt across the world. NASA finds object with 3 glowing eyes, alien probe approaching Earth. The phrase 3I-ATLAS is born, and in a single day, a scientific term becomes an internet legend. Overnight, the object is no longer just a visitor, it's a mystery that ignites every corner of human imagination. News anchors talk in circles, filling airtime with speculation. Some call it a trick of sunlight reflecting off metal, others whisper that it's too precise to be natural. On talk shows, experts are invited to explain orbital mechanics and photometric variance, but their voices drown beneath the rising noise of online theories. Conspiracy forums flood with predictions. Some say it's an ancient probe sent by another civilization. Others claim it's an omen, a cosmic warning. Has humanity finally been noticed? In NASA's control rooms, the atmosphere shifts from excitement to tension. Teams that once joked over coffee now sit in silence, watching the object's data feed flicker across their screens. The pattern of light remains consistent. 3 reflections, every rotation, each one lasting seconds longer than randomness should allow. Scientists issue statements trying to calm the public, reminding everyone that reflection patterns are common, that angles of sunlight can produce illusions. But reassurance is weak against imagination. People prefer mystery to math. Outside observatories, crowds gather with homemade telescopes, searching the heavens for the glowing eyes. Talk spreads like wildfire. Fear feeds fascination. Documentaries rush into production. Religious groups issue statements claiming it as a sign from the heavens. Governments begin requesting classified briefings, wondering if this object could be something technological. Behind the calm faces at press conferences, even NASA's brightest minds can't ignore the question forming in every room: what if it isn't natural? Weeks pass, and the world becomes divided between believers and skeptics. Every image, every analysis is dissected frame by frame online. Some see structure, others see shadow. The scientists' careful language, words like anomaly, rotation, and spectral variance, become fuel for theories. The villain now isn't the object itself. It's confusion, spreading faster than truth can keep up. In coffee shops and classrooms, people whisper. In podcasts and late-night shows, hosts joke nervously about being watched from space. Even as NASA insists on patience, the public mind is already made up, something out there has turned its gaze toward Earth. And every night, as 3I-ATLAS spins through the void, those 3 faint lights seem to blink back at us, steady, silent, and impossibly aware. The mystery deepens with each passing orbit. Is this cosmic traveler a relic of chaos, or a creation with intent? The line between science and story begins to blur. Humanity's oldest instinct, fear of the unknown, awakens once again beneath the calm glow of distant stars. It begins with a quiet mistake, the kind that changes everything. In the mountains of Chile, under the thin, crystalline air of the Atacama Desert, a private observatory collects light from 3I-ATLAS as it drifts through the outer solar system. The facility is small, independent, and proud of its precision. Late one night, a technician uploads raw spectral data to a shared research drive meant only for internal access. But within hours, the file appears on a public server, unprotected. What should have remained confidential now lies open to the world. At first, no one notices. Then a group of amateur astronomers find the link and begin analyzing the readings. They post their findings online, certain they've uncovered something extraordinary. Within minutes, screenshots spread across social media, thin, glowing lines on a graph that don't match anything in known cosmic chemistry. At the heart of the spectrum are narrow, bright peaks, the fingerprints of elements that don't belong to any catalog of natural minerals, metals, or ices. It looks impossible. The data suggests compounds that have never been recorded in an asteroid, comet, or planet. The internet erupts. Forums ignite with speculation, journalists flood the observatory with calls, and within hours, the story reaches NASA's press office. The headlines blur between science and panic. Alien material detected on 3I-ATLAS. NASA caught hiding spectral evidence. Proof of extraterrestrial artifact. What was once a slow, beautiful mystery now turns sharp, electric, and dangerous. The calm tone of discovery is replaced with the crackle of fear. Inside NASA, the tension is immediate. The agency scrambles to verify the leaked data, running its own independent analyses to check for calibration errors or interference. But the readings hold up. The unusual lines remain. They aren't false positives. They're real. The scientists in Houston and Pasadena exchange quiet, uneasy glances. Something about 3I-ATLAS is different. Something about it defies every known pattern of interstellar debris. A closed-door meeting is called before dawn. Around the table sit planetary scientists, spectroscopists, and mission directors. The question is simple, but its weight fills the room: if 3I-ATLAS isn't entirely natural, what is it? There's no evidence of technology, no signal, no radiation spike, yet the composition points to a chemistry unfamiliar to human experience. Some suggest it might be material formed under conditions no longer present in the universe. Others whisper that it could be manufactured. The public grows restless. Every image released, every silence from NASA is twisted into suspicion. To regain control of the narrative, the agency makes a move. NASA officially confirms the object's projected arrival date, a precise day and time when it will pass closest to Earth's orbit. They assure the world that the object poses no threat, that this is a rare scientific opportunity. But behind the polished statements, the truth is more complicated. Scientists don't know what they're dealing with. International observatories rally together. Europe, Japan, India, and South America coordinate schedules, preparing for the closest approach. Even amateur astronomers are recruited into the global watch. The world, once divided by curiosity and fear, now turns its collective gaze toward one speck of light streaking through the dark. The leaked data continues to circulate, analyzed by thousands. Some claim the lines represent unknown alloys, others that they're signatures of crystalline carbon unlike anything seen before. Whatever the explanation, one thing becomes clear: 3I-ATLAS is not like anything that's ever entered our solar system. It carries something foreign, something untouched by time. Humanity, standing on its small blue planet, realizes that this may be the most alien visitor we have ever encountered, and for the first time, the question isn't if we're alone, but what exactly has come to visit us. In the days following the data leak, something remarkable happens. The noise, the chaos, the fear, all of it begins to settle into something new: focus. For the first time in years, every major observatory on Earth turns its gaze toward the same patch of sky. From the volcanic peaks of Hawaii to the high plains of Chile, from the frozen domes of Antarctica to the glowing rooftops of Madrid, a quiet synchronization begins. NASA calls it the Atlas Network, a coordinated global effort to track, study, and understand the mysterious interstellar visitor racing toward the inner solar system. The command centers come alive. Satellite arrays hum with power, telescope mirrors glint under starlight, and control rooms glow with cascading streams of data. Across continents, scientists who speak different languages now share a single rhythm, bound by the same signal. The feeds are encrypted, relayed through private networks and deep space antennas. Each observatory captures a piece of the puzzle: the light curve, the spectral lines, the radar echoes. Every photon that bounces off 3I-ATLAS becomes a thread in a tapestry of discovery. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the atmosphere feels electric. Teams cluster around massive screens showing real-time trajectories, mapping the object's position with pinpoint precision. Its rotation speed fluctuates slightly, almost as if it's responding to solar radiation in unpredictable ways. The mysterious 3 eyes still shimmer faintly, their reflections pulsing like the heartbeat of a cosmic traveler. Every rotation sends back glimmers of new information, color shifts, density estimates, thermal emissions. Each new reading deepens the mystery. But outside those quiet labs, the world continues to argue. Talk shows frame it as a global showdown between science and speculation. Some people call it a test, proof of whether humanity can face the unknown without falling apart. Others insist it's all hype, a cosmic coincidence stretched into fantasy. Yet, even as the debates rage, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Night by night, more people step outside to look up. Families gather in backyards. Schools organize Atlas Watch nights. Amateur astronomers stream live images through their telescopes. For a fleeting moment, billions share the same sky, connected by curiosity instead of conflict. Governments that once competed for funding now share time slots for observation. Data that would have taken months to release is exchanged within hours. Encryption keys pass quietly between space agencies, bypassing political rivalries. Humanity, for once, acts not as divided nations but as a single civilization staring into the cosmos. The pursuit isn't for ownership or fame, it's for understanding. As the object approaches, NASA releases a new visualization, a slow, glowing arc showing 3I-ATLAS's trajectory through the solar system. The animation goes viral, not because it's flashy, but because of what it represents, the path of something ancient meeting the curiosity of something young. Commentators call it a handshake across time. Scientists prefer a simpler phrase, cooperation. Behind the encrypted screens and silent observatories, a quiet sense of awe begins to replace fear. Each discovery sparks not panic, but purpose. The object's surface shows crystalline structures that glint under sunlight like polished glass. Its thermal readings suggest layers of frozen gases and heavy metals mixed in a way unseen in any comet before. It's alien, yes, but not threatening. It's beautiful. And as Earth's instruments align, the boundaries between countries blur. From mountain peaks to city rooftops, every lens, every eye, turns toward the same wandering light. Humanity, for once, looks not at itself, but outward, unified under a single sky, guided not by fear of the unknown, but by the need to understand it. In that shared silence, something shifts. For the first time in generations, the world remembers how to wonder. As 3I-ATLAS moves deeper into the solar system, its motion begins to reveal something strange, something that shouldn't be possible. For weeks, telescopes have tracked its arc, charting each subtle bend and curve as it travels through the gravitational pull of the planets. But now, new data shows that the object is not merely passing through. Its trajectory, when mapped over time, begins to resemble something hauntingly familiar. It mirrors Earth's orbit. Almost perfectly. For millions of kilometers, it traces a parallel path, shadowing our planet at a steady distance before slowly veering away, as if following some invisible design. At first, the similarity is dismissed as coincidence. After all, celestial alignments often appear poetic but are governed by math, not meaning. Yet the longer astronomers study it, the more exact the pattern becomes. The curvature, the inclination, the timing, all of it syncs with uncanny precision. The numbers refuse to obey coincidence. Something, somehow, seems to be guiding the visitor. Inside NASA's mission control, tension simmers. Analysts double-check gravitational models, accounting for the pull of Jupiter, the subtle pressure of sunlight, even the wind of charged particles streaming from the sun. Still, the behavior doesn't add up. It's not a comet drifting randomly, it's a dancer matching steps with Earth, twirling in sync for reasons no one can explain. Charts and simulations flood the screens. The phrase, orbital mirroring, becomes the term of the week, whispered with both excitement and unease. Outside the labs, the story spreads fast. News anchors speak in hushed tones, calling it the cosmic mirror. Commentators speculate that the object might be responding to Earth's gravity in a resonance never seen before. Others lean toward darker explanations. Could it be guided? Could something, or someone, have sent it intentionally along this mirrored path? Theories multiply faster than facts can follow. But for the scientists at the heart of it, the question isn't about aliens or coincidence, it's about connection. What are the odds that a rock from another star, traveling for millions of years through the void, would find itself weaving a path alongside Earth, close enough to reflect our orbit like a shadow across the dark? The numbers defy logic, and yet, there it is, an interstellar echo gliding beside us, silent and steady. In quiet observatories, researchers stare at the latest projections and feel something unfamiliar, not fear, but humility. Maybe this isn't about control or explanation. Maybe it's about reflection. What if, in our desperate attempt to study the universe, we've reached the point where the universe now looks back? The thought lingers in the air like a question no one can quite answer. As the days pass, the alignment grows clearer. 3I-ATLAS glows faintly against the black, tracing its mirrored orbit in eerie rhythm with the blue dot below. It's as if the cosmos itself is holding up a lens, showing humanity a reflection of its own small motion through space, a reminder that in the grand design of things, we might not just be observers but participants in a far greater pattern. The air of wonder returns, mixed now with quiet unease. If 3I-ATLAS is the universe's mirror, what is it trying to show us? The question ripples across science, philosophy, and imagination alike. For centuries, we've looked outward searching for meaning. But tonight, under a sky alive with reflection, it feels as though the universe has decided to look back. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the air feels heavier than usual. Monitors flicker with data streams from around the world, endless columns of numbers, orbital plots, and spectral graphs. The hum of machines fills the silence that hangs between conversations. For months, 3I-ATLAS has been a symbol of unity, of shared wonder. But now, behind closed doors, it becomes something else, a fracture line running straight through the scientific community. The data no longer fits cleanly into equations, and the more the team study it, the deeper the disagreement grows. One group insists the answer lies in gravitational resonance. They argue that the mirrored orbit is nothing more than a coincidence of cosmic geometry, a natural response to the combined pull of the Sun and Earth, shaped by the delicate dance of celestial mechanics. To them, every anomaly has a logical explanation waiting to be uncovered. The other group isn't convinced. They point to subtle changes in trajectory, microvariations that can't be explained by known forces. The object isn't just reacting to gravity, they say. It's adjusting. Correcting. Almost as if something unseen is guiding its path. The debates turn heated. Voices rise in the control room as data scrolls across massive projection walls. Equations are written, erased, rewritten again. Pride begins to replace patience. No one wants to admit that the truth may lie beyond their expertise. Scientists who once worked side by side now divide into camps. The rationalists demand proof before speculation, the visionaries argue that ignoring the impossible is itself unscientific. Each side believes they're protecting the integrity of discovery. Each believes the other is standing in the way of progress. Meetings stretch late into the night. Coffee cups pile up beside laptops. Every minor fluctuation in the object's movement sparks another argument. Someone accuses another of misinterpreting telemetry data. Someone else suggests that the instruments themselves might be malfunctioning. The tension grows unbearable. The villain isn't 3I-ATLAS, it's human ego, subtle and corrosive, eroding the unity that once held them together. Outside the lab, the world watches eagerly for updates, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes. NASA's press releases remain calm and confident, but inside, the scientists are struggling to stay aligned. The more they try to explain the motion of 3I-ATLAS, the more it resists being understood. It is the ultimate reminder that the universe doesn't bend to human certainty. It moves to its own rhythm, indifferent to debate. Then, one night, during a data review session, the arguments reached their breaking point. A researcher slams their pen onto the table, declaring that numbers don't lie, that the object's course is perfectly natural. Another responds, voice trembling with conviction, that maybe that's the problem, maybe we've been defining natural too narrowly. The room goes silent. For a brief moment, the hum of the machines feels like the pulse of the universe itself, waiting for someone to admit they might all be wrong. In that silence, something shifts. The scientists realize that their enemy isn't uncertainty, it's division. The object outside doesn't care who wins the argument. It's still moving, still mirroring Earth, still following a path that no one fully understands. Slowly, the conversations soften. Data begins to flow again between teams. Cooperation returns, not out of agreement, but necessity. But the damage lingers. Doubt has entered the room, quiet and persistent. The once unified mission now carries the weight of human conflict, pride shadowing wonder. And somewhere beyond that tension, in the vast dark between worlds, 3I-ATLAS continues its silent glide, indifferent to who's watching, carrying secrets no argument can solve. The tension inside NASA's control rooms lingers, a quiet storm that no one quite knows how to clear. Then, one evening, as data teams prepare for another long night of observation, a soft voice breaks the monotony. It comes from an older astronomer named Dr. Evelyn Cade, a veteran researcher known for her quiet precision. She's been reviewing archival data, chasing the faintest thread of a hunch. "I think we've seen this before," she says, her voice barely audible over the hum of computers. At first, no one listens. But as she begins to explain, the room stills. Evelyn brings up an old scan, a faded research paper from the 1980s, stored deep within NASA's digital archives. Its title seems almost naive by today's standards: Projected Encounters of Interstellar Matter with the Solar Plane, 2020 to 2030. Written by a small team of astrophysicists decades ago, the paper proposed that fragments ejected from a dying star could, one day, intersect with Earth's orbit. They even outlined a predicted timeline, somewhere around this decade. It was dismissed back then as mathematical curiosity, little more than theoretical speculation. No one could prove it, and the technology to confirm such objects didn't exist. The authors were respected but ignored. Now, line by line, Evelyn compares the model's coordinates with the confirmed path of 3I-ATLAS. The match is almost perfect. The inclination angle, the velocity, the direction of origin, all aligned within fractions of a degree. She zooms in on a grainy chart from the paper, showing an object labeled Fragment A3, estimated to pass near Earth roughly 45 years after the paper's publication. On the screen beside it, the orbital diagram of 3I-ATLAS overlays the old one like a ghostly reflection. The room falls silent. The realization spreads slowly, like a ripple through deep water. Someone whispers, "They predicted this." Another murmurs, "They saw it coming before the technology even existed." It's not possible, yet the evidence glows in front of them, undeniable. What had once been dismissed as fantasy now reads like prophecy. The discovery shifts the tone completely. For months, everyone believed 3I-ATLAS was a surprise, an uninvited guest from the unknown. But now, it feels as if the universe had already written this chapter long ago, and humanity is only now catching up to read it. News of the find leaks quickly. Within hours, the story spreads across scientific circles and headlines alike. Forgotten NASA paper predicted arrival of 3I-ATLAS. The visitor foretold decades ago. Commentators call it coincidence, believers call it fate. And for once, both sides sound equally uncertain. The realization that someone, somewhere, had glimpsed this future unsettles even the most rational minds. In interviews, Dr. Cade insists it was never prophecy, only math, probability, and the quiet patience of science. Yet her discovery touches something deeper. The idea that humanity might have been unknowingly waiting for this moment all along gives the story a new, almost mythical weight. It's as though the cosmos itself had been whispering for decades, hinting that something ancient and immense was on its way. Back in the lab, scientists gather around the old document, reading it not just as data, but as a message from another era, from those who looked up long before modern instruments, trusting only their equations and intuition. The past and present fold together, and the room feels suddenly smaller, as if time itself has bent to meet this moment. Maybe 3I-ATLAS isn't just a traveler from another star. Maybe it's a reminder that even across decades, across generations, humanity has always been listening, even when it didn't yet understand what it was hearing. When NASA finally speaks, the world stops to listen. After months of speculation, arguments, and unanswered questions, the agency holds a press conference broadcast across every major network. The lead spokesperson steps up to the podium, his voice calm but weighted with history. "We can now confirm," he begins, "that interstellar object 3I-ATLAS will make its closest approach to Earth's orbit on August 19, 2031. The words hang in the air like the toll of a cosmic bell. For the first time, humanity knows the exact moment when the traveler from another star will pass by, the day the universe will look directly back at us. The announcement is followed by a wave of silence, then an eruption of collective awe. Across social media, hashtags trend instantly, #Atlas approach, #Visitor from beyond, #The day the stars came close. Science channels light up with simulations of the event, sleek animations showing 3I-ATLAS gliding past the sun, threading between Earth and Mars, before slingshotting back into deep space. The visuals mesmerize millions. It doesn't feel like breaking news, it feels like prophecy fulfilled. Classrooms transform into observatories overnight. Teachers plan special lessons, projecting the object's orbit onto whiteboards. Children trace its path with glowing markers, asking if they'll be able to see it with their own eyes. Amateur astronomers dust off old telescopes. YouTubers build entire countdown channels, updating daily with trajectory visuals, temperature maps, and theories about its origin. For once, the internet doesn't divide, it unites, drawn together by shared wonder. In cities across the world, plans begin for Atlas Nights, mass viewing event scheduled for the week of its closest approach. Parks, rooftops, and desert outposts prepare to host millions under the same sky. Universities coordinate public live streams. Even countries in political tension exchange data freely, aligning their instruments for the clearest possible view. The object itself hasn't changed, but humanity has. What began as fear has evolved into fascination. The world feels smaller, more connected, as if everyone is waiting together for something sacred to pass. Inside NASA's mission rooms, the atmosphere hums with purpose. Engineers fine-tune instruments, adjusting for brightness variations and light delay. Deep Space Network antennas are retargeted to capture every second of radio silence and spectral data. For once, there are no competing egos, no arguments about credit. Everyone understands what's at stake, not survival, but understanding. The race is not against danger, but against time. The universe has given a date, and every heartbeat from now until then counts. The media dubs it the countdown to the unknown. News outlets display digital clocks ticking down the days, hours, and minutes to the exact moment of closest approach. The sense of anticipation seeps into everything: art, music, even dreams. Musicians compose symphonies inspired by the visitor. Painters capture its imagined glow across night skies. Humanity's creativity, long dormant beneath daily noise, awakens to meet the cosmos once more. And in that anticipation, something remarkable happens. The fear that once clouded the early days fades away completely. People no longer talk about impact or danger. They talk about perspective, about what it means to be alive at the moment an object from another star brushes past our world. Humanity doesn't prepare with weapons or warnings, it prepares with curiosity, with open eyes turned upward. The countdown begins not as an end, but as a reminder, that in the vast silence of space, even the briefest connection can unite billions. For once, our heroism isn't defiance against the unknown. It's the courage to simply wonder, together, beneath the same infinite sky. As 3I-ATLAS edges nearer, the universe begins to whisper. It starts subtly, an anomaly in the radio bands, a faint hum beneath the static picked up by deep space antennas. At first, technicians dismiss it as interference from solar wind or background noise. But as days pass, the hum strengthens, taking on structure, low, resonant, almost melodic. A tone that rises and falls in rhythm, neither random nor mechanical. It seems to breathe. Within hours, observatories from California to Tokyo report the same strange signal, pulsing gently across every frequency tuned toward the interstellar traveler. The world doesn't just see 3I-ATLAS anymore. It begins to hear it. Scientists gather in control rooms, headphones pressed tight, analyzing the mysterious sound. The frequencies don't match any known natural emission, not pulsars, not quasars, not cosmic radiation. Yet they're not entirely foreign either. The harmonics resemble patterns found in musical scales, divided by perfect mathematical ratios. It's as if the object carries a resonance encoded within its motion, singing softly as it crosses the solar wind. The phenomenon earns a name, the Atlas tones. NASA releases an official statement, careful not to provoke hysteria. They describe the tones as unidentified harmonic interference likely caused by plasma interactions. But the phrasing does little to contain the imagination of billions. The internet explodes with recordings, remixes, and slowed-down versions of the sound. Musicians turn it into ambient symphonies. Meditation apps begin uploading Atlas frequency playlists. The world, restless with curiosity, begins to dream in vibration. As night falls across continents, the tones are rebroadcast on television and radio. People listen in darkened rooms, hearing the cosmos hum like a lullaby from beyond time. It's not frightening, it's beautiful. A deep, warm sound that feels alive yet distant, ancient yet strangely familiar. Some describe it as the voice of the stars. Others swear they can hear patterns within it, echoes of heartbeats, whispers of breath, fragments of something almost human. Dreams grow vivid. People report strange visions, endless fields of light, galaxies folding like petals, waves of sound stretching through eternity. Psychologists call it the Atlas effect, a collective subconscious reaction to cosmic awe. But poets, artists, and mystics call it something else, communion. For the first time, humanity feels not just connected to the cosmos, but included in its music. In the halls of observatories, scientists wrestle with disbelief. The tones are too consistent, too deliberate. They don't fluctuate with distance or velocity. They remain steady, repeating like a melody with purpose. Could the object be emitting resonance intentionally, or is it merely reflecting some deeper universal harmony we've never noticed before? Every theory feels like both science and poetry. Soon, every news channel replays the same haunting sound, the heartbeat of the unknown. Airwaves across the globe hum with the voice of something not from here, yet undeniably part of the same creation. Pilots hear it faintly in cockpit radios. Deep-sea microphones pick up echoes of similar frequencies. Even the ionosphere trembles ever so slightly, as though the entire Earth is resonating in sympathy. And beneath the wonder, a quieter feeling grows, a reverence, a peace that no words can quite explain. Humanity listens together, billions of hearts tuned to a cosmic frequency that asks for nothing and promises everything. It feels like a greeting, like the sound of infinity breathing just once, reminding us that even in silence, the universe is never truly still. The stars are singing, and for the first time, we are listening. The harmony that once soothed the world begins to splinter. What started as a sound of wonder, the gentle hum of the Atlas tones, slowly transforms into a source of unease. Media outlets, hungry for ratings, twist the narrative into something darker. Headlines turn poetic and apocalyptic all at once. The sky is singing, but what is it saying? Alien transmission detected near Earth's orbit. The tones, once described as celestial music, are now painted as warnings. Every talk show, every news panel, every feed becomes a battlefield between reason and fear. Overnight, the word transmission trends across every platform. Hashtags multiply by the millions, fueled by speculation and dread. Influencers claim to have decoded hidden messages in the frequencies. Conspiracy channels insist the tones are a countdown, an alien signal disguised as harmony. Self-proclaimed experts post videos with spectral diagrams overlaid with words like contact, prophecy, and end of cycle. The sound that once lulled people to sleep now keeps them awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if the universe is trying to tell them something they don't want to hear. Religious leaders step forward to interpret the event through divine lenses. Some call it the voice of creation, a reminder that humanity stands on the edge of judgment. Others warn of deception, that the sound is a test, a siren luring souls toward arrogance. Temples, churches, and mosques fill with people searching for reassurance. Candles flicker beneath the same sky where 3I-ATLAS drifts silently on. The tones echo through radios, through open windows, through prayers whispered into the night. Meanwhile, skeptics and scientists try desperately to anchor the world back to reason. NASA holds another press conference, this time with a noticeably different tone. They explain that the harmonics are most likely caused by plasma interactions between solar radiation and the upper atmosphere. It's not a message, they insist, just physics, beautiful but indifferent. But reason rarely travels as fast as fear. Within hours, their calm explanation is buried beneath new headlines screaming about cover-ups and classified data. Inside observatories, frustration grows. Researchers who once felt unified by curiosity now find themselves under attack online, accused of hiding the truth. Journalists camp outside labs, demanding statements. Anonymous sources claim secret findings. Every word spoken is twisted into something sensational. The object that once united humanity is now dividing it again, not through danger, but through doubt. In living rooms, families argue over what the tones mean. Some feel peace when they hear them, others feel dread. The same sound becomes both lullaby and warning. Children who once fell asleep listening to the recordings now wake in tears, saying the music feels different, colder somehow, more distant. The global mood darkens. Stock markets ripple with uncertainty. Religious movements clash with scientific institutions. Fear, once dormant, reclaims its throne. Humanity, which had come so close to collective wonder, begins to fracture again under the weight of its own imagination. And through it all, the tones continue, unchanged, unbothered, perfectly balanced. Neither friendly nor hostile. Just present. A reminder that the universe speaks in ways beyond comfort or comprehension. The villain now isn't the cosmos or the unknown. It's the shadow cast by our own need for answers. As the world trembles between belief and reason, the stars remain silent, and the music plays on. The chaos surrounding the Atlas tones shows no sign of slowing, and yet, in the middle of the noise, something miraculous happens. Deep within NASA's data labs, a small group of analysts notices a pattern, not in the headlines, not in the hysteria, but in the hum itself. They have been listening for weeks, isolating the frequencies, filtering out background interference, mapping every pulse and pause. One night, as the signal is stretched across a timeline on their screens, the truth emerges in quiet astonishment. The tones aren't random. They repeat, perfectly, precisely, deliberately. At first, it's just a rhythm. A simple rise and fall, spaced in even intervals. But the deeper they look, the more complex it becomes. The pattern expands, layering harmonics upon harmonics like an intricate chord progression. Each pulse aligns with mathematical ratios, golden proportions, Fibonacci sequences, prime intervals that mirror the structure of growth and motion in the natural world. It's not chaos. It's order. The kind of order that suggests intent, or at least intelligence woven into the fabric of sound. Word spreads quickly among the scientific teams. Physicists swarm the data, running Fourier analyses and quantum simulations. Linguists are brought in, searching for structure, syntax, repetition, anything resembling communication. Even philosophers and cognitive scientists join the conversation, debating what it means when the universe begins to hum in mathematical precision. Some say it's a coincidence of resonance, a cosmic echo of natural laws. Others whisper that it feels like language, not spoken, but expressed through geometry and vibration. The discovery changes everything. The tones, once dismissed as interference or illusion, suddenly feel alive. It's as if the cosmos is whispering through frequency, writing messages in the invisible air. Mathematicians notice that the sequence aligns with orbital harmonics found in planetary systems, ratios that govern the spacing between worlds. Each note, each pause, mirrors the rhythm of celestial motion. To some, it's proof of a deeper unity, that matter, motion, and music are threads of the same universal code. News of the pattern leaks before NASA can contain it. Within hours, it dominates every platform again, but this time, the tone is different. Instead of fear, there's fascination. Documentaries rush to explain the discovery, think tanks host live debates. Everywhere, people start to feel the pull of the mystery again. The world that had been arguing now listens together once more, drawn not by panic, but by the wonder of numbers too perfect to ignore. In one of the labs, a young researcher overlays the frequency map with visual renderings. When played as light instead of sound, the pattern forms a shape, a spiral, elegant and balanced, identical to those seen in galaxies, hurricanes, and the DNA helix. The realization sends chills through the room. The tones are not just sound. They are structure. The universe is humming its own blueprint. For a moment, no one speaks. The data scrolls silently across the monitors, glowing in rhythmic waves. It feels as though 3I-ATLAS isn't just moving through space, it's communicating through mathematics, the only language that every species, every world, could understand. The implications ripple far beyond astronomy. Philosophers call it the first universal constant of meaning. Physicists call it the harmonic signature of creation. For the rest of humanity, it simply becomes a sound, proof that the cosmos is not empty, but filled with an intelligence that doesn't speak in words, only in ratios, vibrations, and time. As the world listens again, one truth becomes impossible to deny: the universe is not silent. It's singing in numbers, and for the first time in human history, we might be learning how to listen. When the discovery of the harmonic pattern becomes undeniable, NASA makes a decision that will define the moment for generations. The Deep Space Network, a vast system of radio antennas stretching from California to Spain to Australia, is retuned, not to send signals, but to listen. These are the same dishes that once guided astronauts to the moon, that spoke to Voyager across the darkness. Now, they turn toward a single point in the sky, locked onto the faint glimmer of 3I-ATLAS as it drifts closer. Every dish listens together, their massive arms sweeping through the night, collecting whispers of light and sound that have traveled for eons. The recordings come through clearer than anyone imagined. Engineers clean the signal, removing background interference and solar noise, until only the pure harmonic remains, a melody shaped by mathematics, composed by motion itself. Then, in a packed auditorium at NASA headquarters, they play it aloud. Scientists, journalists, and students fill the room. The lights dim, and through the speakers comes a slow, resonant hum that feels impossibly alive. It rises, gently swells, then falls again, each tone perfectly balanced, each interval echoing the next in endless symmetry. And then, after one final wave, it stops, ending in absolute, deliberate silence. For several seconds, no one moves. The silence itself feels as meaningful as the sound. Then a murmur spreads, not applause, not cheers, just quiet astonishment. It isn't proof of intelligence, not by scientific standards. There are no words, no coded message, no pattern of symbols. Yet it feels intentional, like a breath exhaled from the stars. A greeting, perhaps. Or simply a presence acknowledging another. Within hours, the recording is released to the public. It spreads faster than any song in history. News networks play it between headlines, streaming services upload it in full. Billions listen from phones, speakers, and radios, some in wonder, some in tears. It becomes the sound of something sacred, something shared. People who never cared about astronomy suddenly feel connected to the cosmos, as if the universe itself had finally spoken in a way their hearts could understand. In classrooms, teachers play the recording to students who sit in silence, wide-eyed, listening as if the entire world has paused just for them. Some cry without knowing why. Artists paint to it, writers describe it as the music of origin. Across the world, orchestras perform renditions of the tones, blending human instruments with the raw cosmic frequencies. Cities light up their skylines in synchronized patterns, matching the rhythm of the signal. It becomes more than data, it becomes culture, a bridge between science and soul. At night, millions fall asleep with the recording playing softly beside them. Streaming platforms rename it the Atlas Lullaby. Its rise and fall mirrors the human breath, slow, gentle, infinite. For many, it brings peace in a way no words ever could. Psychologists report drops in anxiety in places where it's played regularly. Entire communities begin hosting listening nights, where people gather under open skies, eyes closed, united by the same hum that now belongs to all of Earth. In those moments, humanity listens not to prove or to fear, but to feel. To remember that it, too, is part of the same harmony, a fleeting note in a vast, ongoing song. And as 3I-ATLAS continues its journey across the heavens, its melody lingers here, echoing softly through human hearts, a reminder that the cosmos may not speak in language, but it always knows how to sing. Now, the long-awaited moment draws near. 3I-ATLAS, the interstellar traveler that has captivated Earth for months, crosses the orbits of the outer planets. Out beyond Jupiter's vast storm belts and Saturn's shimmering rings, it glides through sunlight, its surface flashing like metal polished by eternity. Space probes stationed throughout the solar system catch glimpses of it as it passes, thin, radiant reflections streaking across deep space cameras. The first close-up images arrive on Earth, and the world falls silent again. The object isn't jagged like an asteroid, nor frozen and porous like a comet. It's smooth, seamless, symmetrical in a way that feels almost intentional. Its outer shell gleams like glass, catching the light of distant suns that no human eye will ever see. The images spread everywhere within hours. Billboards, classroom screens, city projections, all filled with the same glowing traveler. For once, no one argues over what it is. Scientists, poets, and children all describe it the same way, beautiful. The world, fractured for so long by fear and noise, seems to pause and breathe together. The feeling that follows isn't dread anymore, it's reverence. Humanity is no longer afraid of what's coming, it's afraid of losing it. Space agencies coordinate a final campaign of observation. The European Southern Observatory aligns with NASA's Deep Space Network, while Japan's ALMA array joins from the Southern Hemisphere. Even rival nations, long divided by borders and politics, share telescope time without hesitation. Data flows freely across continents, encrypted, yes, but open in spirit. For the first time in history, Earth's collective intelligence turns as one eye toward a single point in the void. Every day, the object grows brighter in the sky. In rural areas, people swear they can see it faintly, like a distant star that wasn't there before. Scientists confirm it, the reflected sunlight is strong enough now for amateur telescopes to catch. Night by night, its path sweeps closer, its movement almost visible to the naked eye. The countdown, once abstract, now feels real. The numbers on NASA's website tick down by hours, then by minutes. The window to observe it, to understand it, shrinks with every passing second. In labs and observatories, exhaustion mixes with awe. The world's brightest minds push their instruments to their limits, capturing every photon, every spectral line, every fluctuation of the Atlas tones that still hum faintly in the background. The object is approaching its perihelion, the closest point to the Sun, and after that, it will slingshot outward, away from the solar system, perhaps never to be seen again. This is it, the final chance to listen, to see, to learn. But time, always patient, now becomes the greatest enemy. There's too much left to study and not enough moments left to do it. Scientists know that once 3I-ATLAS passes beyond the reach of our telescopes, its voice will fade back into silence, joining the endless darkness between stars. Humanity's instruments, no matter how powerful, cannot follow it there. The data they gather now will be all that remains, the last echoes of a brief encounter between one world and a wanderer from another. The closer it comes, the more it feels alive, not as a being, but as a story. A messenger whose purpose isn't to stay, but to remind. In every nation, people begin to look up again, not in fear of what's approaching, but in gratitude that they were alive to witness it. The world stands beneath one sky, aware of the same truth: 3I-ATLAS will soon pass. And once it's gone, it will never return. The world that once marveled in unity now feels the weight of urgency. 3I-ATLAS, the luminous traveler from beyond the stars, is nearing its closest point to Earth's orbit, and time is running out. What was once a slow unfolding mystery has turned into a desperate race against the inevitable. In control rooms across the globe, the atmosphere grows tense. Screens flicker with endless streams of raw data, brightness variations, spectral readouts, trajectory curves, energy signatures. The information flows faster than anyone can process it. Humanity has never had so much data and so little time. Inside NASA's Deep Space Operations Center, scientists huddle around terminals, eyes red from sleepless nights. Instruments that have been running non-stop for weeks begin to falter. Servers lag under the weight of terabytes pouring in every hour. Automated systems crash mid-transfer, forcing technicians to manually restart recordings. Every second lost feels like a fragment of history slipping through their fingers. And all the while, 3I-ATLAS keeps moving, gliding past the orbit of Mars, now visible even to backyard telescopes as a faint, silver streak in the night sky. In Chile, the sky darkens unexpectedly as a layer of dense cloud cover rolls in, blocking the world's most powerful optical telescopes from their final scheduled observation window. In Hawaii, high winds shut down the Mauna Kea Observatory for the first time in months. Across Europe, a temporary power outage cripples the data relay system linking international observatories. It feels as if nature itself is conspiring against them, throwing up walls of weather and chance in humanity's final days of observation. Then comes a blow no one expected. A global funding freeze, triggered by an automated system during an end-of-quarter budget rollover, delays a crucial data pipeline NASA relies on to synchronize its findings with its partners. The glitch lasts less than 24 hours, but in cosmic terms, it's a lifetime. By the time the error is fixed, the object has already shifted a measurable distance, and critical alignment data is lost forever. The frustration in the control rooms is palpable, not anger, but heartbreak. The universe has offered them a miracle, and bureaucracy almost made them drop it. Still, they press on. Teams improvise, rerouting power from secondary systems, reprogramming instruments on the fly, and calling in backup telescopes not meant for deep space work. In deserts, mountaintops, and even ships at sea, smaller observatories step up to help, capturing whatever fragments of data they can before the light fades. Amateur astronomers, too, contribute, their collective images filling gaps in the professional records. For the first time, humanity acts as a single global network, united not by command, but by necessity. Every hour feels precious. Scientists speak in whispers, afraid to waste even seconds. The hum of machines blends with the faint pulse of the Atlas tone still echoing faintly across deep space frequencies, a reminder that this is no ordinary object. It is older than the Sun, older than Earth, older than human comprehension. And soon, it will be gone. As 3I-ATLAS approaches its brightest moment, instruments strain to keep up. Its reflection grows so intense that some sensors overload, momentarily blinding satellites. The visitor from the stars blazes briefly, like a cosmic torch lighting the edge of human knowledge. And then, slowly, its arc begins to shift, the trajectory curving away from the Sun, away from Earth, toward the eternal dark. The villain now is not fear or conflict. It is time itself, relentless and unsympathetic. Humanity races to learn, to listen, to understand, knowing that soon, silence will return. The countdown continues, not to catastrophe, but to farewell. In the glow of computer screens and the hum of the final transmissions, scientists everywhere feel the same ache, the sorrow of knowing that something extraordinary is slipping away, forever beyond their reach. As 3I-ATLAS drifts into the space between the Moon and Earth's orbit, the world watches in collective breathlessness. Every major observatory is locked onto it, capturing every photon, every flicker of movement, every faint hum that might carry new meaning. The countdown has reached its final hours. Then, in the quiet of one late-night observation, something happens that no one expected. At a small tracking facility in the Canary Islands, a team of radar astronomers runs a routine experiment. They bounce a narrow radio pulse off the object, a standard test used to map its surface composition. The pulse travels across space, touches the surface of 3I-ATLAS, and returns. But what the monitors record next is beyond routine. The returning signal doesn't scatter or fade like it should. Instead, it bounces back perfectly, clean, sharp, and identical in structure to the one sent out. A perfect mirror. At first, the team assumes a technical malfunction. They recheck the transmitter, the timing circuits, even the local weather conditions. But the data is flawless. The signal didn't reflect diffusely, it echoed back as though it had been caught, amplified, and returned intentionally. When the replay is shown frame by frame, the radar pattern aligns with Earth's emission in perfect symmetry, delayed only by the seconds it took to cross the void. The scientists in the room fall silent. There's no natural explanation for such precision. The reflection is mathematically perfect. Word spreads through the networks almost instantly. Within an hour, the data reaches NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where analysts verify the readings using independent telemetry. The result holds true. The reflection wasn't noise or coincidence. It was real. 3I-ATLAS, for one brief instant, behaved like a cosmic mirror, echoing Earth's signal as if to acknowledge its presence. It's impossible, and yet, it happened. The world awakens to the news like a dream-breaking daylight. Headlines appear faster than they can be written, the universe winks back. Earth's message returned. The moment of return. That phrase, coined by an exhausted technician during an interview, becomes the name of the event that will echo through history. The moment of return. Theories flood the airwaves. Some claim the surface of 3I-ATLAS is coated in metallic crystalline ice capable of perfect reflection under specific solar angles. Others suggest electromagnetic resonance, or a freak synchronization between the radar's wavelength and the object's rotation. But no explanation fully satisfies the evidence. The reflection wasn't just perfect, it was delayed by exactly one full rotation of the object, as if it had waited for alignment before responding. People around the world replay the radar clip again and again, the ping that left Earth, the stillness of space, then the returning tone that seems to whisper, "I heard you." The idea electrifies the public imagination. Artists call it a conversation between stars. Scientists call it the most extraordinary coincidence in the history of observation. But everyone agrees on one thing: the timing, the the precision, the symmetry, feels deliberate. NASA releases a statement hours later, carefully phrased but unable to hide the awe behind the words. "We are not claiming communication," it reads, "but we acknowledge the event is remarkable." The world takes that as confirmation of something deeper, a cosmic acknowledgement, a brief dialogue written in light and echo. That night, when 3I-ATLAS passes across the lunar plain, millions of people step outside to look up. The moon glows softly, its pale light brushing the dark sky where the traveler moves unseen. Somewhere up there, a message was sent and returned, a greeting written not in language but in reflection. For the first time, humanity doesn't just look into the void looks back. And in that silent exchange, brief and eternal, the universe feels just a little less alone. The night arrives like a promise whispered through centuries. The eve of 3I-ATLAS's closest pass, the moment the world has waited for, unfolds beneath a sky so clear it feels almost staged. Across continents, lights dim and streets empty as people step outside, gazing upward. In deserts, mountains, cities, and frozen plains, humanity stands shoulder to shoulder, eyes lifted toward the faint blue shimmer now visible just above the horizon. It drifts slowly, steadily, its glow soft but unmistakable, a glimmer of something not from here, sliding silently through the cradle of our solar system. NASA's live feed begins to stream worldwide. Satellites orbiting high above Earth link with telescopes across the globe, syncing into a single network, a digital chorus watching one celestial note glide past another. On screens in living rooms, schools, and public squares, the image of 3I-ATLAS appears in real time, glowing like a sapphire ember moving through the sea of stars. The Atlas tones, those haunting harmonics discovered months before, play softly beneath the broadcast, transformed into a musical score that feels almost sacred. The hum rises and falls like breathing, carrying the sound of infinity through every speaker, every heartbeat. No one speaks much. Words feel too small. In the deserts of Nevada, crowds sit wrapped in blankets, holding hands. In Tokyo, people gather on rooftops, streaming the view on phones held high against the night. In the Sahara, scientists watch from portable observatories, their instruments glowing in the dark like constellations on the sand. Even aboard the International Space Station, astronauts float by the viewing windows, watching the blue light drift past in silence. It's not an event anymore, it's a moment in time, shared by an entire species. NASA's announcers speak softly, almost reverently, describing what's being seen, the object's core reflecting sunlight like crystal, the thin halo of ionized particles trailing behind it, shimmering in rhythm with the Atlas tones. There is no spectacle, no explosion, no drama. Just stillness, the kind that makes people realize how small they are, and how vast everything else is. For a few precious minutes, all barriers vanish. The internet, usually a battleground of noise, becomes a place of quiet wonder. The same video stream plays on every continent, in every language, on every screen. The blue light moves with slow grace, a messenger crossing the line between stars and silence. Children press their faces to windows. Elders who once watched the moon landing whisper that this feels different, not conquest, not exploration, but communion. As the object reaches its brightest point, the sound of the harmonics swells. The tones match its motion perfectly, as if the universe itself is scoring its own story. The sound grows thinner, softer, then fades, replaced by nothing but the whisper of the wind and the collective breath of billions. In that moment, humanity feels something that can't be written down, a shared heartbeat stretching across oceans and generations. The blue light begins to dim, its glow slipping into shadow as it moves beyond Earth's reach. But the silence it leaves behind isn't empty. It's full, filled with gratitude, humility, and awe. People don't cheer when it fades. They simply stand there, letting the moment sink in, understanding that what they've witnessed is not a show, but a reminder. The cosmos doesn't revolve around us, but sometimes, just for a while, it lets us watch. Under that quiet, boundless sky, humanity stands united, not through fear or discovery, but through wonder. A fleeting visitor from another sun has crossed our path, and for one night, all of Earth looked up together, listening to the same cosmic silence. And just like that, the wanderer begins to leave. 3I-ATLAS, once a faint blue glimmer against the night, now streaks past the sun in a dazzling arc of reflected light. It swings around the golden edge of our star, bending under gravity's pull, then breaks free, its path curving outward, back toward the infinite dark between worlds. For days, it remains visible, shrinking steadily, its glow softening until it's nothing more than a fading ember in the vastness. Humanity watches its departure the way one watches a ship vanish beyond the horizon, knowing it's still out there, but already missing it. The cameras continue to track it until the very last photon slips away. Spacecraft near the sun record bursts of radiation scattering from its surface, revealing details that had remained hidden until now. The final readings pour in, terabytes of data capturing its texture, its chemistry, its motion. As the numbers stream across NASA's servers, something extraordinary emerges. 3I-ATLAS carries the fingerprint of a dying star, isotopes and compounds that could only have formed in the fiery heart of a supernova. It isn't just a rock from another system, it's a fragment of something that once lived and died in light. The elements locked within it are ancient beyond imagination, billions of years older than Earth itself. Spectral maps reveal crystalline structures unlike any ever observed. Some reflect light at perfect 90-degree angles, as though cut with precision. Others hold traces of frozen gases trapped since before our solar system formed. When scientists compare the ratios of heavy elements within the object, they find something even more astonishing: the exact chemical signatures of a stellar remnant 12,000 light-years away, in a region known as the Ashen Veil Nebula. It means 3I-ATLAS has traveled across half the galaxy to reach us. It has journeyed through gravitational storms, radiation belts, and voids colder than thought itself, and somehow, after eons adrift, found its way to our small corner of the cosmos. The discovery electrifies the scientific world. Teams across the planet dive into analysis, translating the final data into color-coded maps and high-resolution 3D models. For the first time, humanity can touch the past of another star, not through imagination, but through measurement. Every atom inside 3I-ATLAS tells a story older than language. And yet, the deeper they look, the more questions arise. Some isotopes shouldn't exist anymore, they should have decayed long ago. Others are arranged in geometric patterns too uniform for randomness. Nature doesn't make shapes this clean without reason. The object's composition reads like a message carved by time itself, a memory of destruction and rebirth. From a star's violent death to our sky's quiet awe, 3I-ATLAS carries proof that the universe recycles even its own endings. Scientists begin to describe it not just as an object, but as a relic, a record of stellar evolution written in metal and ice. The data coming in is overwhelming, but no one complains. It feels like the last gift before goodbye. As its light fades beyond detection, there's a stillness in the labs and living rooms around the world. People feel the weight of what they've witnessed. The wanderer is gone, but its echo remains in every recording, every dataset, every heartbeat that quickened when its light touched our world. The mystery hasn't ended, it has deepened. 3I-ATLAS came from the ashes of a star, crossed the impossible gulf of space, and for a fleeting moment, brushed against our lives before moving on. And as it slips once more into the dark, humanity is left staring after it, humbled by the realization that we are part of the same endless journey, fragments of stars, watching another fragment pass us by. The wanderer has gone, but its echo refuses to fade. Across the planet, data pours in and debates ignite. Every field, science, philosophy, theology, art, tries to answer the same impossible question: what was 3I-ATLAS really saying? Was the harmonic pattern a message? A coincidence born of cosmic physics? Or simply the sound of nature's machinery, mistaken for meaning by hearts too eager to find it? The discussions stretch from laboratories to late-night talk shows, from classrooms to kitchen tables. The world that once listened together now splinters under the weight of interpretation. In the quiet aftermath of its passing, humanity fills the silence with questions. Physicists argue that the tones and reflection were natural, an interplay of plasma, metal, and motion. To them, the perfection of the reflection, the symmetry of the harmonics, were extraordinary but explainable. They caution that seeing purpose in every pattern is human arrogance dressed as wonder. But others, linguists, musicians, and cosmologists, refuse to dismiss it so easily. To them, the harmonics carried too much structure, too much rhythm. The perfect echo of Earth's radar signal couldn't be mere coincidence. It felt intentional, as though the universe had recognized our gaze and returned it. Philosophers call this the oldest human dilemma, our need to assign meaning to mystery. For centuries, people have searched the stars for signs of consciousness beyond our own. Now that something has finally stirred the silence, the arguments are fiercer than ever. Was it a greeting from intelligence? A mirror held up by the cosmos to make us see ourselves? Or was it nothing at all, just light and sound playing tricks on our longing minds? Every possibility feels both magnificent and terrifying. In universities, debates turn into symposiums. In temples and mosques, sermons blend scripture with scientific wonder. Online, forums burn with endless speculation, while poets release anthologies inspired by the moment of return. The reflection has become legend, the tones an anthem. Humanity is divided not by borders or belief, but by interpretation. One side seeks explanation, the other, meaning. And both are right in their own way. NASA releases a statement urging restraint. Not every mystery demands an answer. Some exist simply to remind us how much we do not know. The message is calm, but it does little to quiet the noise. People crave closure, but 3I-ATLAS has given none. It came, it reflected, it sang, and it left, like a visitor knocking once on the door of existence before vanishing into the night. The silence that follows is deafening. For the first time in months, the world's radio telescopes record nothing. The Atlas tones, once constant and soothing, are gone. No hum, no echo, no pulse. The frequencies that once danced with mathematical precision have flattened into static. And somehow, that silence feels heavier than the sound ever did. It presses against the edges of thought, asking questions that language can't answer. People begin to dream again, of the sound, of the light, of the reflection that blinked like an eye across eternity. Some say they can still hear it faintly in the wind or the ocean's rhythm. Scientists dismiss that as imagination, but poets insist it's memory, the cosmos engraved on the human heart. And so, the argument continues. Was 3I-ATLAS communication, coincidence, or something beyond both? The truth slips between definitions, refusing to settle. Humanity, brilliant and restless, struggles to accept that not every question has a final answer. The villain now is interpretation itself, the endless human hunger to translate the infinite into something small enough to understand. The universe remains silent, but in that silence, every soul on earth hears something different. Weeks pass in a strange, quiet aftermath. The world has resumed its rhythm, but something feels missing, like a song that ended too soon. The news cycle moves on, but in labs and data centers, a few sleepless scientists continue to sift through the final transmissions from 3I-ATLAS. They replay the last harmonic tones again and again, breaking them down into mathematical sequences, spectral graphs, and frequency layers. It's a tedious, thankless task. Most believe everything that could be discovered has already been found. But late one night, in a dimly lit control room at NASA's Deep Signal Analysis Division, a young data analyst notices something strange. The final tone from 3I-ATLAS, the one that faded into silence during its departure, contains a subtle variation, almost imperceptible to the human ear. When the waveform is magnified and mapped, a pattern emerges. The intervals between each harmonic pulse align not randomly, but with an elegant mathematical symmetry. When compared to known ratios, it matches one perfectly, the golden ratio. The same ratio found in the spiral of galaxies, in the curve of ocean waves, in the growth of leaves, hurricanes, and DNA. It's the universal constant of structure and beauty, the fingerprint of nature's design. At first, the discovery seems impossible. The golden ratio is a product of organic and physical laws. It shouldn't appear in the vibration of an interstellar object unless by extraordinary coincidence. But the numbers don't lie. Every pulse of 3I-ATLAS's last tone fits the pattern precisely. The harmonics were not random noise, nor intentional communication. They were the universe expressing itself through motion, a resonance so fundamental that it transcends intention entirely. The revelation spreads quietly through the scientific community, carried not by press releases or breaking news, but by awe. It reframes everything humanity thought it knew about the visitor. 3I-ATLAS didn't send a message, it was the message. Its form, its orbit, its harmonics, even its reflection, all parts of a single cosmic equation. A fragment of the universe echoing the same geometry that shapes all creation. It didn't come to teach or to warn. It simply was, a manifestation of harmony woven into the fabric of existence. The realization humbles even the most skeptical minds. Philosophers describe it as the moment when science and spirituality finally overlap, when meaning and mathematics meet in perfect balance. The tones weren't words, but truth in its purest form, pattern without language, order without motive. The cosmos, it seems, doesn't need to speak to be understood. It simply mirrors itself across scales, from the swirl of galaxies to the curve of a seashell, from the orbit of planets to the beat of a human heart. When NASA quietly publishes the analysis, it doesn't make headlines. Instead, it spreads organically, whispered in universities, shared in forums, quoted in art and poetry. People begin to see 3I-ATLAS differently, not as an outsider, but as a reflection. A cosmic mirror showing that the laws shaping the stars also shape us. In classrooms, teachers use the finding to explain the unity of all things. Musicians compose symphonies based on the Atlas harmonics, turning data into melody. Architects design buildings that follow the same ratios found in the tones. Humanity, without realizing it, begins to create in the same rhythm that the visitor carried through space. And somewhere, in the deep vacuum beyond the reach of light, 3I-ATLAS continues on its path, silent, ancient, perfect. It doesn't know it changed us. It doesn't need to. Because its message was never meant to be read or heard. It was meant to be remembered, every time we see a spiral, a wave, a heartbeat, or the curve of the world itself. The visitor is gone, but its echo remains, woven into the very pattern of life, reminding us that we have always been part of the same song. As 3I-ATLAS slips beyond the reach of every telescope, its light becomes one with the quiet fabric of the stars. The faint blue shimmer that once crossed Earth's skies is gone now, swallowed by the endless black between suns. Yet somehow, its presence lingers. It's in the hum of machines that once tracked it, in the data carved into hard drives, in the songs and art it inspired. The world feels emptier without it, but also fuller, as though something invisible has quietly settled into humanity's collective soul. In the months that follow, people return to their routines, but not as they were before. The Atlas tone, that haunting, mathematical harmony discovered within its final signal, becomes more than data. It becomes ritual. Across continents, people play it softly before sleep, not as mystery, but as comfort. The gentle rise and fall of its rhythm reminds them of something eternal, of cycles, balance, and the delicate order that holds everything together. Streaming platforms list it under cosmic sleep, and it becomes the most played sound on Earth. Parents hum it to their children, orchestras perform it beneath domed observatories, even hospitals play it in recovery wards, describing it as music that steadies the heart. For scientists, 3I-ATLAS remains a source of endless study. Every new discovery, every chemical anomaly, every spectral layer, adds another verse to the story. Yet the tone of discussion has changed. The arguments, the fear, the desperation to define it, all have faded into humility. The object no longer represents a question to be solved, but a truth to be honored. It showed that not everything vast needs to be conquered, and not everything unknown must be feared. Sometimes, to understand the universe, you simply have to listen. Artists, too, carry its echo. Painters capture the way its blue light shimmered over the world, musicians weave its frequency into compositions that feel almost sacred, and filmmakers tell stories about humanity's brief encounter with something infinite. Even architects begin to use the golden ratio found in its harmonics as a guide for design, building homes, towers, and monuments that echo the same geometry carried by the stars. Earth slowly begins to reshape itself in the image of the cosmos, not through imitation, but through understanding. And perhaps that's the greatest legacy of all. For centuries, humans looked outward, hoping to find meaning among the stars, proof that we were not alone. But 3I-ATLAS changed that perspective. It reminded us that we are not separate from the universe at all. We are made of the same elements, tuned to the same harmonies, sculpted by the same laws that guided the wanderer across the galaxy. The visitor didn't teach us who we are. It reminded us who we've always been. Now, when people look up at the night sky, they no longer search for signs of life or fear what might be hiding in the dark. They listen. They feel. They remember the whisper that once passed through their world, not in words, but in resonance. The sound of connection, of presence, of something far greater than understanding. As 3I-ATLAS fades into the deep silence beyond all hearing, Earth remains changed. Humanity stands gentler, quieter, more curious. The hero, us, has grown not through conquest, but through listening. The villain, fear, has been replaced by wonder. And the message, though silent, still hums in every atom of our being: the universe doesn't shout. It whispers. And if we listen closely enough, we don't just hear it, we hear ourselves.